What up, it's Prime Pete. So, I'm sure you've seen how often XDefiant has been delayed. Every time they set a launch window, they end up saying psych and pushing it forward. And now we're left with a totally unknown release date set in 2024, where we're kind of shrouded in mystery about the launch schedule of this game. It raises a few important points in regards to the game's survivability versus huge titles like Call of Duty. Namely, the fact that XDefiant, by delaying its release, has really just set itself up for a success immeasurable compared to if it launched in the summer. For starters, if XDefiant had released any earlier, it would have been overshadowed by the eventual release of Modern Warfare 3, which could have easily killed the player count for XDefiant despite the $70 price tag. I mean, we have to remember that the majority of the audience that knows about and is excited for XDefiant's release are just Call of Duty players that are sick of the direction Call of Duty is going in. But because of that, players may have found themselves jumping over to Modern Warfare 3 instead of playing the #1 alternative to CoD, just because it's reasonable to want to know what you're missing out on by playing XDefiant just to spite CoD. By making sure that Modern Warfare 3 released before XDefiant, Ubisoft was able to take into account, behind the scenes I'm sure, all of the things that Modern Warfare 3 does that XDefiant doesn't do, which is honestly very little, especially since the game's mechanics are the only good thing about Modern Warfare 3, and everything else like the EOMM and the spawns make playing the game completely unbearable anyways. However, the one thing CoD does that XDefiant will never be able to do is be CoD, which is a huge selling point of the game. The fact that Call of Duty has a legacy, and the title can and always will be abused to sell it, despite the game falling incredibly short of the quality titles we've seen in its long history across the 2000s and 2010s. XDefiant undoubtedly promises something better than CoD will ever offer in the next few years, and has offered in the past 5 years. However, they have to make sure that the climate in the FPS genre is just right to release, and that is completely a valid concern. If XDefiant released in December, they would have been up in odds against the finals, which turned out to be really fun in my opinion, and if they went up in November, the game would have had to compete with Modern Warfare 3, which would not have been fun for them. It's not a bad idea to wait for the perfect time to release, and along with that, fix any straggling bugs that would have made the quality of life worse for players. After all, Call of Duty and a lot of AAA games release notoriously incomplete nowadays, and having that argument against XDefiant would more or less rope them into the AAA conundrum, which is something they can't really afford, especially after delaying for this long when we were promised the game in the summer, and with the free price tag. The point is, Call of Duty has a very unfair advantage when it comes to their competition with other games, and that is simply their name as a franchise. If the exact same game was released under a different name and company, it would have flopped horrendously because of how badly CoD abuses its fan base. So this is a leg up that XDefiant can't really have when it comes to their clear competition with the largest multiplayer franchise in gaming history. Not releasing in November or December was actually a pretty smart move. This being said, how likely is it that XDefiant can compete with Modern Warfare 3? Well, I've had fluctuating opinions on this. First, it was yes because of how bad Modern Warfare 2 was, and then it didn't release in the summer, and then Modern Warfare 3 received all sorts of changes, especially to the pace of play because Activision knew that XDefiant was threatening to take a lot of players away, and it was garnering more attention than it ever had. So then I thought there was no way that XDefiant did well because it would have been in Modern Warfare 3's shadow. But then, Modern Warfare 3 sold 50% less copies than Modern Warfare 2, and not only that, the algorithms and systems within that game are so unbearably saturated that it's driving so many players away from it. And one of XDefiant's main selling points is that there are no algorithms. There's unbiased, unrestricted connection-based matchmaking, unless you're playing ranked, which is how it should be. This is one of XDefiant's best strengths as a title. It completely outclasses Activision both in the matchmaking and their transparency about such practices. Call of Duty refuses to talk about their matchmaking because it's shady, malicious, and designed to addict. XDefiant is designed to be fair, humane, and reasonable, and as a result, Ubisoft will openly discuss it. Another one of XDefiant's main selling points is that it's completely free, and in addition, it'll be a one-off live service title with tons of updates, like Fortnite for example, which means that the game will culminate more and more content together, likely through seasonal updates like Fortnite, and eventually have more content to offer than any Call of Duty ever has, even with the carry forward mechanic. And to a company that charges $70 annually to play a game that is not only incomplete, but rigged, boring, and manipulative, and that has less content than its free-to-play competitor, XDefiant actually might be kind of terrifying. While I don't think XDefiant can completely incapacitate CoD, I think it can do something far more important. It will steal every player with a lick of sense that Call of Duty had playing, and as a result, Call of Duty will finally be punished for its lack of care for the player base, lack of communication about anything important, and overall greed when it comes to game design and abusing the name of the franchise to garner sales. They'll see what really keeps the players interested, and that is simply basic care for the players and transparency about what is going on with within the game. What's even more incredible is that they're delaying the game for legitimate reasons, and because they care about the quality of life that the players will have when playing the game. So the game will launch with no blatant bugs and no horrendous mishaps, which, after playing CoD for the last few years, will be such a breath of fresh air to finally have a fully functional UI, weapon leveling, camo progression, party system, and so forth. And the best part is, players literally have nothing to lose except maybe a little over 50 gigabytes of storage space. The game is free, and yet it still offers more in quality of life and quality of gameplay than the highest budget AAA first-person shooter in production. And this is what I believe the game does correctly. Now I can list off some things I'm afraid of. First off, the hit detection and netcode are both awful. When I played the closed beta for PC, I got off after 30 minutes because my bullets were just not registering, which was incredibly frustrating. This isn't just me, by the way. There are actually threads discussing this, and it's pretty agreed upon by now that the hit reg just wasn't that great. Additionally, what I think also might happen is that only the die-hard CoD fans that are disappointed with CoD will go after XDefiant and play it, which will render the game extremely competitive and sweaty anyways as a result, because the only people playing it will be people that feel like they got robbed by EOMM all the time, which are the skilled competitive players. However, I feel like my concerns about the game being sweaty could be eradicated pretty quickly, especially considering that the game is free. There's no way only sweaty players are sick of CoD. Since sales are down 50%, that means that the casual player base is starting to catch on, and that's definitely because of YouTubers spreading the truth about the game. When people are passionate enough about the issue, even those who are more indifferent towards CoD figure out that there's a logical reason why you shouldn't be playing it anyways. And once a new FPS comes out for free and people on YouTube are singing its praises, those same casual gamers will gravitate towards XDefiant instead. So just to lay out the facts here, you're paying $70 to get cheated, bamboozled, swindled, manipulated, and straight up abused by Activision. And instead of that, in a few months, you'll be paying absolutely $0 to play a game created by a company with genuine entertainment in mind, with transparency, and with absolutely no shady matchmaking practices, just ping-based matchmaking, and enough decency to delay the game in order to make quality of life adjustments before the game launches. The best choice is a blatant no-brainer. Once the cards are laid out, it seems XDefiant may have more of a chance than I originally thought. If they plan the release date well enough, and the FPS climate is one where they're not going to be aggressively contested by another new game, XDefiant is going to have a fantastic launch, and I will be playing. Also, I said I'd still be playing CoD in this video I made right here, but I actually haven't touched the game since I recorded it. I really just can't push myself to do it. Like, there's just something in the way just blocking me from doing it. I think I can put my finger on it, but I'm just not quite sure. It could be the fact that it's rigged, but you know, maybe not. I've also been playing the finals like a lot, and that game is awesome, but I won't bore you guys with that talk right now. Let me know your thoughts about XDefiant in the comments. Take it easy.